My name is Holly. I'm 17 years old. I was diagnosed with scoliosis when I was 13. I'm going to talk to you today about scoliosis. If you don't know what it is, then this video is probably not really for you. Although I guess maybe you might know somebody who has it, in which case you should probably Google it and then come back. The main point of this video is to talk about how I've dealt with scoliosis so far, the experiences that I've had, and to talk a little about the problems that those of us who have scoliosis face, and also a little bit about my future with scoliosis. So to start, I'm just going to show you some pictures of how my back looks. I'm sure most of you watching are pretty familiar with them, either on yourself or somebody else that you know. I guess where it would be best for me to start would be the beginning, when I found out I had scoliosis. The very start was at 11 years old. I was trying bikinis on for the summer, and my mum told me to stand up straight in the changing rooms. I thought that I was, but looking in the mirror I realised that really I wasn't. I was pretty crooked. I really had no idea at that point just how much my life would be affected by that moment. It was kind of scary, thinking how much of an impact it's made. Many of you will be pretty familiar with what comes next. I had an appointment with my family doctor, which led to a hospital visit. I had to have a lot of x-rays, an MRI scan. I may have had a CAT scan, I think, as well. I had an ultrasound. I had to do a lot of flexibility tests and answer a lot of questions and things. And of course I arrived at the inevitable end, which was somebody saying to me, you have to have surgery on your back. If you don't, you might not be able to have children. And my heart and lungs could be crushed by it. Basically, if you don't, then your life will be ruined by it. My mum wasn't too happy with this, and she did some research about the surgery. She found out that even if you do have it, a lot of people still get complications. There can be little things like being allergic to the anesthetic and so on. There's some serious ones which can end up leaving you paralysed, or even in some serious cases dead. And it was really overwhelming for me to hear this. As an 11-year-old or 12 or 13 I think I was, it really felt like I'd been handed a death sentence, basically. I didn't understand what was going on at all, and I couldn't get why it was happening to me. I felt like my whole world had been turned upside down, basically. I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't have any friends who had scoliosis, so I had no one to talk to, and no one who understood what was happening for me. I probably shouldn't dwell on that too much because it's not that nice to think about it. But I was already an insecure person, and the scoliosis made me feel really ugly. At the time I wasn't feeling any pain really with it at all, but just how I looked was, enough to make me feel terrible about myself. Moving on from that though, my mum threw herself into researching alternative therapies. We tried so many, but for various reasons I didn't continue with most of them. If you want to read about all the treatments that I've tried and how they worked for me and so on, I'll be posting a link to a scoliosis blog which I write for underneath this video, so make sure you check that out. I can't go into detail about them here because honestly I could just spend hours and hours talking about all of them. I basically just felt quite determined that I wanted to find a way out that was not surgery, but nothing we tried really felt right for me. So after various lengths of time with each thing, I eventually said I don't want to do any more of this. 5 years or so have passed, and I still feel kind of the same towards my scoliosis. Some days I feel really hideous, and I just want to hide inside track pants and a hoodie forever. Other days I decide, screw it, I'm just going to wear whatever I feel like wearing, even if it's tight and so on. But I just end up feeling uncomfortable and hoping that people aren't paying attention to me. Most days I try to hide it but still wear something that's reasonably flattering. It's quite a chore. I wish that the only thing I had to worry about when I was choosing my clothes was if they matched together, but I have to hope that they're hiding my scoliosis instead. I guess part of my insecurity comes from things that people have said to me. A few years ago there were a couple of comments, which of course I've absolutely forgiven the people who said them, but the comments do stick with me. The first time that anybody mentioned it was I was standing by a swimming pool in my bikini, but somebody pointed out in front of everyone that I was looking really uneven, and it was in front of about 30 people from school, and I don't know how many people actually heard what she said, but the fact that she had noticed, the person who made the comment, really upset me, because before that I would kid myself that nobody else could see it and that I was the only one who noticed it. But then I obviously realised that it was noticeable, and clearly that didn't make me feel too happy. There was another time in the PE changing rooms at school where somebody actually mocked the way that I stand and the way that I walk, which, you know, I'm not gonna lie, it made me cry, because I just didn't want to be so different from everyone else. I didn't want people to make fun of something in me. I guess the point that I'm trying to make is that I was really unable to accept that I look different from other people. I would have given anything to swap bodies with any girl that I knew, anyone. I just wanted to be normal. But after all this time, I've come to terms with how I look. The work that I put in my back now, and if I do have the surgery, it will be for my health rather than how I look. And I still have days where it gets me down, but on the whole, I accept how I look. And I refuse to do things for my back for the fact of how it looks. And that's why I've been putting the surgery off for so long. I'm still luckily 99% pain-free. So I don't want to have the operation just because I don't like how my back looks. I'm not hating on people who do have the operation because of how it looks, because believe me, I understand how it feels to hate how your scoliosis looks. It's awful. It just makes you feel so hideous, and I'm not bagging that, but it's just not a personal decision that I have made. I'm just talking about the fact that I've actually mostly found my confidence again, and I want to make it clear that I'm not hating on the surgery at all. So here I am now. I've made the decision that I won't have surgery. This year I'm not doing any treatments, any appointments and things like that. The reason for this is I want to focus on my studies, and to be honest, I was also just really, really sick of it all. I was spending so much time going to various things, and I just needed a break from it. So that's this year, and deal with the consequences of that next year. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with how I feel that scoliosis is kind of taking over my life. At the start of next year though, I'm hoping to visit the Schroth clinic in Germany. They have an intensive program there that's specifically designed for scoliosis. Again, I'll put the link for that in the description below. But thinking about my future, I don't want to feel trapped by scoliosis. I don't want to live with pain, but I hate the idea of having to do exercises every day or something like that, you know. I'm really not good with that kind of commitment and stuff. I can't handle thinking that anything could be for a whole lifetime. And so it kind of makes me feel a little hopeless. I feel like there's not a way to escape the scoliosis, but I have to just kind of accept it. It feels scary thinking that something could still be a part of my life in 20 years when that's so far away, and so much will change, but not the fact that I have scoliosis. So yeah, I just have to accept it as a part of my life, and I think a lot of you watching will understand what I mean about feeling trapped. I guess I'd better wrap this video up now. To be honest, it's a bit of a ramble and it's not got that much point behind it, but I just wanted to tell people that if you have scoliosis, you're not alone, and it's something that I've been through and a whole bunch of other people are living with it every day, and we know how you feel, we get what it's like, and yeah, I don't want people to feel like they're the only one who's been through what we've been through, because I felt like I was the only one, and I don't want you guys to feel like that. So if you want to contact me personally, I'll put a link for that again in the description below. I just want to end with something that I got told the other day. A doctor said to me that I should feel lucky. Lucky because I got scoliosis rather than cancer. Lucky because my parents are alive and together, and I was born into a family that doesn't struggle for money. And while I see his point, I totally do, there are so many things worse in life than scoliosis. I also want to say that while scoliosis is not the worst thing in the world, it is a hard thing to deal with. I'm not going to pretend it's easy, and I'm not going to feel bad or guilty about the fact that I hate it, but we can get through the scoliosis. We can find our ways and we can fix it. I'm done talking now. Hopefully you don't feel like you've just wasted however long of your life. Check out the links in the description below, and I hope that you managed to get something out of my ramble here. Thanks for watching.